Happy Money Monday, y'all. I am back. It's Money Monday. Happy Monday. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Monday. It's your wealth best friend. I'm Jayla. It's our time to chat about money. So let's do this. Last week, I asked you a question and I got some really great answers and responses. And I figured we would continue the convo with like a cost benefit analysis. It's something that you probably do with your money decisions and don't even realize it. It's just more about the pros and cons, actually working the financial figures, trying to figure out what is this decision actually going to look like if I go out and I do it. So to remind you of the question that I asked, we had we'll make her single Black woman who has $300,000 in student loans. It accrues at 7% interest every year. And she has an investment property and she's trying to decide whether she should sell the investment property to pay for the student loans. Now, I said the house, it's an investment property, meaning she doesn't live there, but it makes about $16,000 a year, but that's gross. Net, it only brings in about $800. And I said, to make it even more difficult, you can't use that $800 towards the student loans. So when we go into a cost benefit analysis of these decisions, whether to sell the house, to pay for the debt, and what benefit that brings, if it's something that you should do, the simplest way is just starting and looking at the facts and the figures. What that means is it's $300,000 in debt. What does that truly mean? What is that costing you monthly, yearly? So I did the numbers, and the payment, we'll say if it started today and goes on for 20 years, that the payment in total is about $2,300, and we'll use round figures to keep it even. Interest is about $1,700 a month. Now, that means that this student loan is costing her $22,000 every year just in interest. So already we see the interest is more than the home is actually making. Leave that in the back of your mind. And principal on this loan, that again is accruing 7% every year, is $575. That's how much is actually going of her $2,300 payment to pay down the loan, to get her out of debt. Now, remember, we've got $1,700, almost $1,800 because it's $1,750, going to interest. That's money she'll never see. That's the bank's winning. That's Sally Mae winning. But you've got $500 going to principal. So we see why she's considering selling her house to pay off these loans. But on the home sale side, the one thing that people don't really realize when they have an asset, one, this property is making her money. What she's doing with that money, we'll have to ask her and see. But it's making money. It's worth, I can't remember if in the hypothetical I said it was worth $300,000 to make it even. I did the numbers on $200,000 because again, this is a paid off loan. So everybody goes into it thinking, I'm going to sell my house for what it's worth and I get to keep all that money. Part of this exercise is realizing that's not the case. Even if you're able to get $200,000, it's worth $200,000. There's going to be a lot of people in your pockets. So with a house sale, you can expect maybe 6% of an agent fee when you are selling your house. That's $12,000 gone on the $200,000. Imagine we're selling it for $200,000. Then some people pay for prep and staging of the house before it's sold. Now in this market, I've seen what looks like trap houses selling for $1 million. Nobody's doing any staging, but traditionally some people do it. Might cost you about 1%. So that's $2,000 gone. There's sellers' concessions. So sometimes the buyer is like, no, this needs to be fixed or I'm out, depending on the contingencies of the real estate deal. And in order to keep the deal going, seller is like, okay, I'll give you a concession. Here's $1,000 to get that fixed. Here's $2,000. So they estimate about 2% needed for concessions to make sure that the deal closes. $4,000 gone. Now, remind you, I just said $12,000, $2,000, $4,000. Where are my profits going? Then you've got transition costs, things that you're still paying for when you own the house, but before it closes and transitions to the new owner. You've got taxes, title, escrow, notary fees. That together is about 2% more. So I've already given up 7, 8, 9, 10, almost 10%, 11% of my profits just in thinking about selling the house. And that's another $4,000 on title and escrow. And you can't get around that. You can try and shop and get them cheaper, but you can't get around those costs. And this is not a primary residence. You're right, Alexandra. So before tax, remind yourself, these are all expenses before you get taxed by the IRS. You're looking at about $178,000 of your profit, assuming there's no mortgage. $200,000 just became $170,000. Then you get into capital gains. Has she owned this property more than a year, or has she held it for a long term? That's going to matter. That changes your tax rates. In this case, in this example, she's held it long term. We're buy hold, remember. So she's looking at either 0%, 15%, or 20% in taxes. Really, I shouldn't say 0 because this is not a primary residence. So she cannot shelter any of these gains. She's probably looking at the 15% range, which means $26,000 gone. So now we're losing money. The money we needed to pay off the student loan, well, everybody else is getting and taking a hold of those. So if you were one that said sell the house, even at $300,000, remember, if it was an even split, $300,000 in debt, $300,000 for the house, you're still going to have these expenses. So our wonderful millennial woman was always going to have to pay more in order to cover the full student loan. Now, maybe she's going through this process and just strategizing. Maybe she just doesn't want $2,300 in payments. So she's willing to chop at the loan and sell her house to pay off half of it. But then you got to determine, is that worth it? You have a house, and how are the expenses? How are the tenants? Has it been a nice, easy ride? You haven't had many problems. You're not in hurricane territory where you're panicking and mentally stressing about your house. Or is this something where it's traumatic and the tenants are terrible, the property manager is terrible, the taxes are high. You're in like a California state where taxes can be $12,000 and they go up 2% or 0.5 minimum every year. So there are a lot of factors that you've got to look at. It's not as simple as, yeah, let's just sell it. And this was just an exercise to see if you guys were going to go into the numbers and delve deep and know, oh my God, I'm paying $22,000 a year in interest on my student loan alone. So I'm proud of you guys for doing the work, doing the exercises. Remember to apply this to your life. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm here. Your wealth best friend. Thank you guys for showing up. I appreciate you. Oh, we do have a question about capital gains. If you roll over the profit into a new property, do you still have to pay the taxes? That's more sheltering, and there are a lot of rules about 1031 exchanges, and it depends on, honestly, it becomes more costly for you because it's not a one-to-one thing. You're not able to just, oh, I originally had a $100,000 house. I can use this to buy another $100,000 house. They want you to spend more. So yeah, you're deferring the tax, Thank you. See, we got a CPA on the line. I love it. You are deferring the tax until the property is sold. You're just pushing it off. See, in my example, we're paying those taxes now because taxes are not going to get cheaper. We don't put off things. Let me pay my tax on this profit now so that I don't have to worry about it in the future. For some, they like to defer it. Me, I don't need anything hanging over my head. But yes, I love that question. Thank you. Thank you. If you have any more, throw them at me. I'm around. It's Money Monday. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. I think in this case, our millennial's not going to sell the house. Maybe she'll wait for the value to hit 400,000. We'll say that, and then reconsider. But that also means that the $300,000 student loan, it might be much higher. So she's going to have to get real creative with how she pays off these student loans. But right now, she's going to enjoy the pause and keep strategizing. That's what our hypothetical lady is going to do. Thanks, y'all. I'll see y'all next week.